Recently, I realized something about ranked solo queue that I'm pretty sure all of us can agree with. That no matter how good you are, or how bad you are, we all relatively have the same experience when it comes to solo queue. Let me set the scene. You get on your computer one day and you have some sort of masochistic craving to be yelled at and treated like garbage. So in order to sate your desire, you open up League of Legends. And then you scroll over to that infamous ranked solo queue button. You queue up, you play a game, and you win. By a landslide as well. For some reason or another, it seems like every single person on your team was better than every single person on their team. You continue to play League of Legends for another few hours, and you know what? You keep winning. The solo queue gods are in your favor, and you win again and again and again and again. And at this point, it's getting late, and you've had enough. You go to bed with a grin ear to ear, having dominated the Rift all day nearly effortlessly. The next day, you wake up, you do some life stuff, and finally, when you have some time to yourself, you queue up for some more solo queue to ride that wave of dopamine. You play your first game, the comps look fine, and then finally you get into it, and for the next 20 minutes, you get the absolute fucking shit kicked out of you. And this precedes an absolute insane losing streak that you wouldn't even wish upon your worst enemy. It almost feels like you're playing a completely different game. Your teams have gone from supportive and caring about one another and working together to being batshit psychopaths threatening to int the second you don't bend to their will. What happened? Is it just a coincidence? Does every rise in rank have to lead to a meteoric decline so fast it can be a ride at Disneyland? Well, what if I told you that in a lot of instances, this is normal? Now, I do want to say that the article that I'm going to cite is specifically from EA, so none of this is directly attached to League of Legends or Overwatch or anything like that, but you'll see why I cite it. The article we're going to be diving into is called EOMM, an engagement-optimized matchmaking framework, which is basically a long and fancy article in which researchers from EA prove that fairness and fun aren't really important in making engaging matchmaking. And by engaging, they mean a matchmaking with the lowest possible chance of making players churn away from the game. I don't know why they use the word churn. I may be gold, but I'm not butter. An interesting thing to note here is that the researchers found exact combinations of wins and losses and were able to find the likelihood that a player would churn away. This data was collected from a popular PvP game developed by EA, and in this example specifically, the time players churned away was 1 week. Looking closer at the table, and what do you know? The outcomes with the lowest churn risks also happen to have more losses and draws than wins. To put it simply, if the game is detecting that you yourself are about to churn away because you're losing too much, it's likely that the game will artificially set you up against weaker players just to get you back into being addicted. Unfortunately, this obviously happens when you win too much as well, because as we see here, throwing in a loss can also reduce churn risk, but it gets deeper. Researchers also found that a player's matchmaking should be based on the player state itself. A player state is a collection of features that are for the individual player. Examples include stuff like install date, play frequency, skill, etc. And thus, this information is turned into an equation that can predict when you yourself are close to churning away. The most worrying thing about this, however, as you may have guessed, is that with EOMM, your games are almost predetermined for you, making a profile based on your wins, losses, and habits, monitoring the odds in which you'll stay or go, and slightly adjusting it so that you fall back to being addicted again and again and again. Now, I don't know about you, but the fact that they stated that fun and fairness isn't really important to make engaging matchmaking is kind of worrying to me. And I'm not gonna sit here and say that fun and fairness is always the best choice either, if even possible. But the whole idea of a machine learning my habits to find the best way to keep me addicted for the little crumbs of LP I get here and there is kinda shitty. And the fact that this research even exists from such a gigantic and well-respected company like EA, it's hard to keep a straight face. The fact that this research even exists means that there is some intention behind it. I'm not gonna necessarily fault companies for doing whatever they can to keep us addicted to their games. And obviously, though this research is conducted and made by EA, it's very obvious that Riot has their own set of algorithms possibly doing the same thing too. So what's the point? And why am I even talking about it? Well, I'm glad you asked. I think a lot of us should be informed about stuff like this because it gives us power in this this situation. I'll be the first to admit it, and I'm sure a lot of you noticed if you watched my stream, but bad solo queue games and losers queue games actually do get under my skin. I feel like a lot of us, whether you play League, Valorant, Apex, Fortnite, or whatever else, are predetermined on the idea of winning being everything. More so, a lot of us, myself included, also take losses to heart because in our brains we think that matchmaking is supposed to be fair. But it isn't, and that's okay. Does this make MOBAs or team games shitty for doing whatever they can to keep us addicted? Kind of. But what can we do about it? That's easy. Let's form an understanding and realize that this shit is common now and will always be. If anything, it's gonna get worse. And the only way for us to be less affected by it is to fully understand that if you lose, so the fuck what? Not every game is gonna be a win, and every loss isn't your fault or anyone else's. There is a loser's queue. There are games that you're going to lose before even hovering your character. And that genuinely does suck, but that's just how it goes in these kinds of games. Don't let it get to you, and the only thing that you yourself can monitor is whether or not you're having fun. And as long as we can keep our heads up and remember that, stupid shit like robot overlords dropping us into losers queue because we're winning too much won't have power over us. And that's just about everything I have to say on this topic, and I really do hope that this video helped you guys out, because I know figuring all of this stuff helped me out, because now if I ever have a really bad ranked game, I could just go, okay, Robot Overlord didn't want me to win. But I have a genuine question for you guys, and I do want to hear about this in the comment section because I need to know if it's just confirmation bias or if this is a widespread thing. Whether it's League of Legends or Counter-Strike or Overwatch or whatever game you play, do you think losers queue is a thing? Do you find the games to be completely unwinnable the second you get into them, just for one reason or another? You get classed against people who are significantly better than you, or you get a bunch of toxic people on your team while they seem to be playing like a professional team in the LCS or whatever. I need to know your opinion because I genuinely want to do more stuff like this, and I think seeing and gauging your guys' reactions will definitely be a great nudge in the right direction. Besides all of that, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Again, I know that this is a pretty weird video. It's very heart to hearty, but I thought it would be a really good video to add to the channel because it's something that is very interesting, and I hope that this helps you guys also deal with your losses in solo queue. I think that's all I have to say. Follow the stream. If you haven't followed the stream, I'm over there all the time, and we play a lot of bangers over there as well. That's all I have to say. Now click the videos that are on the screen to go watch some more bangers, huh? Go click one of these videos and then you can go watch another banger. Why don't you do it? Go ahead, get clicking. All right, get over there. Get over there. This is getting awkward, isn't it? Just click a fucking video, please. Please, I'm so tired. It's 6 a.m. I finished editing this at 6 a.m.